welcome to another green screen forecast. Your host, Ivan Kamal, as I probably don't need to tell you that it is feeling hot on this Monday, and it's all with the humidity that is really wearing you down, I bet. And we're going to talk about the forecast high temperatures that our models were thinking for this Monday, July 27th, as well as the tropics. You probably want to know what's already happened and our El Nino and how that influences it, and we'll talk about it towards the end of the video. But let's talk about the heat. Let's talk about the present on this Monday, July 27th. These temperatures, we are thinking in the mid to upper 90s is exactly what we are seeing. But again, no matter what your temperature is, even if your city is not in the upper 90s, the humidity is just so oppressive that it throws those heat index values well above that 100-degree mark. Now, over the next few days, good news, this area of high pressure will start to move out to the west. As it does, we'll have to watch the outskirts of it, we like to call it ridge runners, and see whether or not it impacts our area. And we see that reflected in these temperature trends from our friends at the Climate Prediction Center. The 6 to 10 day temperature outlook getting us into the early portions of August 2026 already. And you notice the area of high pressure, which was once here, starts to push out west. And we see that high confidence of above normal temperatures through the early portions of the month for parts of the Four Corners region. And me and my family were actually planning on heading to parts of the West Coast, so this basically means we're following the heat dome, and while we get some relief here in Missouri and Illinois, the outskirts of that ridge, whether it's all the way in the East Coast or over our area, the placement of storms along that ridge will determine whether we see stronger storms during this period or not. I have storm probabilities with you coming up in just a minute. But our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook shows us that consistency of those above normal temperatures, especially down out to our west. But if that moves any further east, that could mean the difference from some relief or more summertime heat moving our way. So remember the brief cool down I was talking about? It was this area of high pressure that we were thinking that would move out to the west and bring us a little bit more of that relief. But it's still going to feel like summer, and we're still going to be dealing with those above normal temperatures. So sunglasses on and definitely find yourself a pool. Now, our normal highs for this time of the year are in the upper 80s, so when we look at this will be highs anywhere from the upper 80s to lower 90s across the region. But again, if this area of high pressure moves anywhere further out to the east, that will just bring an increase into those temperatures. And then, of course, the Gulf is what brings us all of that humidity and moisture, and that's what gives us those serious feels-like temperatures. So good news is, yes, we'll get a little bit of relief, but if that high pressure moves into our area, you notice trying to print out more above normal temperatures. Now, brief cool downs are still going to be possible throughout the month. I still have this as part of our forecast for the month of August. You notice our long range week 3 to 4 week temperature outlook shows us the potential of a brief cool down during the month, with those above normal temperatures hanging on for parts of the East Coast as well as the West Coast. So we will enjoy the brief cool downs as we get them, but obviously these will be fronts that move into the region, and that's why we'll have to watch to see if any disturbances or any severe weather tries to enter back into the forecast. Normally we don't worry too much about it in August, but the pattern that we're in is supportive of it, so we have to keep a really close eye on it, and you can trust me to do that as well as me on my socials and all the other amazing weather enthusiasts on there and our friends at the National Weather Service. Now let's switch gears and talk about what's already happened. I want to emphasize this has already happened. Tropical Storm Bertha, probably heard it on some of your news affiliates. It moved over parts of the Gulf Coast. Thankfully, the heaviest rain stayed outside of the coast. So this was a weird day where people were in New Orleans, actually, were just commuting like it was a regular day because the worst of the storm stayed just south of them. Now, as it started to move out towards Texas, there was actually the area of high pressure we were talking about suppressed some of that moisture and kept it a little bit further down to the south, and actually brought places like Corpus Christi some heavier rainfall. So thankfully this wasn't a bad storm, and one reason why, again, El Nino brought a little bit of extra shear to this storm. Now, places like the Pacific Ocean, El Ninos love the Pacific Ocean. That's where you're going to see all the tropical storm activity. With all the extra shear, sometimes a few storms like Bertha has told us that, you can still get hurricane or tropical activity during an El Nino. Now let's talk about storm probabilities. I'm almost done here, don't worry. From Northern Illinois University. I have to mention, because that area of high pressure moves out to our west, this is the ridge runner effect. You notice this is getting into early August, and the probabilities for stronger storm activity on the edge of that ridge. So whether it's over our area or parts of the Ohio Valley or further out to the east remains to be seen. So you always want to have a NOAA weather radio by heading over to midlandusa.com to keep your family safe during the 2026 severe weather season. And we're going to go ahead finally and wrap up this video. Thank you for watching it all the way to the end. I definitely wanted to squeeze in a small tropical update because I know a lot of people are probably wondering what's going on. And if you probably know already, good for you. I'm happy you do know. And I'm going to continue to keep an eye on that, as well as our weather here in St. Louis after that summertime heat that we've been dealing with, especially if you're watching this after the 27th, which I know many of you probably are. Make sure you follow me over on X. The link to that will be down in the description. I'm also on Instagram at Weather with Alvin. Same thing over on Threads, and also getting on Facebook as well for some of those that are on Facebook, but specifically for those areas, those are my biggest audiences, so just go ahead and follow me on there, and of course stay subscribed and notifications on, so if I go away on a short vacation, when I come back you're still going to be able to see my video first. So again, thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. Stay cool, St. Louis. We'll get a little bit of relief, but obviously it is still summer, and I hope you have a safe rest of your week.